Hey guys, how we doing? Here's your semester exam for geometry. All right, we're going to do the evens only. Okay, only the evens, if you see that in my directions up here. So, starting with number 2, looking at this picture below, listed represents 4 non-coplanar points in the diagram. Which 2 could complete this list? Non-coplanar means they're not on the same plane. So they're starting off with P, which point P is down there, and T. Now you need to name 2 other points that are not coplanar, not on the same plane. Here are your choices for number 2. Number 4, line segment EF has endpoints 5, -1, and F is -3, 8. What are the coordinates of the midpoint? Remember, to find a midpoint, we're just going to add x1 and x2 and divide by 2, and add y1, y2, and divide by 2. Okay? And your answer should be in an ordered pair like this. Number 6, I'm going to draw a little picture here. We have segment JL. Okay, K is the midpoint, so it's splitting these in equal halves. Okay, JK is 9x minus 1, and KL is 2x plus 27. They want to know the distance of the entire thing. So set this equal to this, because they're 2 equal halves, since he's a midpoint. Find x, and then plug it back into each one of these to get the distance from J to L. Here are your choices. Number 8, we want to find the measurement of XYV. So XYV is this angle here. Now, in order to do that, you need to take this part and set them equal to each other and solve for x. Because they're vertical angles. They're back to back, which means they're equal. So set them equal to each other, solve for x. Plug it in, here or here, doesn't matter which one, and find how many degrees this angle is. Okay, you just need one of them. And then remember that these are a linear pair, so from here to here is 180. So what are you going to do with 180 and the angle that you get here, blank degrees, what are you going to do to figure out XYV? Your choices are listed here on the right. Moving on to the next page. Number 10. P and Q are complementary angles. Complementary angles add to 90 degrees. They give us the measurement of P, an expression, and Q. They ultimately want us to find a measurement of P. So just set it up. The 2 angles add together to equal 90 degrees. Remember, you've got like terms. Okay. Solve for x. Then plug it back in right here because they want to know what is P. And of course your choices are right there, A, B, C, D. Number 12, which of the following is a counterexample to the statement? So which of these numbers would prove this to be wrong, that all prime numbers are odd? All prime numbers are only divided by 1 in themselves. Which one proves this to be false, that they're all odd? 2, 6, 14, or 22? Okay. For 14, we're going to use P and Q. A square has 4 sides. Adjacent angles are always congruent. So 14, which of the following compound statements are false? Which of these are false? A square has 4 sides, and adjacent angles are not always congruent. B, a square does not have 4 sides, or adjacent angles are not always congruent. C, a square has 4 sides, or adjacent angles are always congruent. And D, a square does not have 4 sides, or adjacent angles are congruent. Okay, 16. This is all in itself. Says, which is a contrapositive of the statement? Contrapositive means we were flipping a previous statement. So if it is raining, then the parade will be canceled. So which of these is a contrapositive? Okay. If it's not raining, then the parade will be canceled. If the parade is canceled, then it's raining. C, if the parade is not canceled, then it's not raining. Or D, if it's raining, then the parade will be canceled. Contrapositive means we're flipping, and we should have negative words in the statement. Words of no. Okay, on to page 3. Which of these following statements are true? Angles are supplementary if and only if they form a linear pair. So like a linear pair would look like this. Do they have to be a linear pair in order to be supplementary? Again, which of these are true? It is Valentine's Day if and only if it is February. C, a number is a perfect square if and only if it's divisible by 2. Or lines are skew if and only if they're non-coplanar. So it means they're on different planes and yet they're not parallel. Is that true? Which of these were true? All right, number 20 is down here. It's a Venn diagram. Okay, talking about a relationship between pitchers, baseball players, and football players. Which statement is false based on this diagram? So look, you got baseball players here, pitchers inside the baseball players, and then you got football players, kind of part of all three. Is it all baseball players are pitchers? Is some football players are pitchers? All pitchers are baseball players? Or some students are pitchers, baseball players, and football players? Okay, which one of these is false? 3 of them are true. Which one is false? Okay, moving on to the next page. Which property justifies this statement? Which property? Transitive, which is like the whole friends thing. If I'm friends with you, you're friends with Bill, then I'm friends with Bill. Is it the addition property? Segment addition, where we're adding 2 segments together. Or substitution, where we're removing a part and inserting another piece in for it. If Wx is equal to Yz, then Wx plus Rs equals Yz plus Rs. So they've just added another segment here. Which one of these would apply? Okay, 24. Looking at this here picture, which pair of lines are skew? Skew lines. Okay. Skew, they're not on the same plane, not the same surface. They can't be on the same surface, but yet they cannot be parallel either. (26) Given in this diagram, in this picture, in the diagram, it says angles 1 and 5 are what type of angles? So 1 and 5. Are they consecutive interior, alternate interior, corresponding, or alternate exterior? Kind of in the same location here, aren't they? 28, we're solving for x. Okay, these are alternate exterior angles, which means they are equal to each other. So set up each expression equal to the other, all right? And they just want you to solve for x. That's all you need to do. Your choices are down here to the right. On to the next page. It says A and B are parallel. Angle 1 is 9x minus 4. And angle 2 is, I'm going to kind of draw an arrow there to get it to fit, 13x minus 32. They want to know the measurement of angle 3. Okay, no big deal. So these two are corresponding. They're in the same location, okay? Set these equal to each other and solve for x. Then once you do, take notice that angle 2 and angle 3 are a linear pair, which means they add up to 180. So what are you going to do with 180 and the measurement of angle 2 to figure out angle 3? For 32, we're going to use this picture, right yonder. It says m plus, the measure of 6 plus the measure of 7 equals 180. 6 and 7 measure up to 180. Which lines must be parallel and how? So because of 6 and 7 equaling 180, which lines are going to be parallel? Is it J and K? And is it because they're alternate interior? Is it J and K because they're consecutive interior? Is it L and M because they're alternate interior? Or is it L and M because they're consecutive interior? So, or is it JK that's parallel or L and M? You got to look at which lines these angles touch, okay? (34), which line is parallel to this line right here, okay? So his slope is a -4/3. Who here has a slope of -4/3? Right now, you can't tell. You need to rearrange each of these and put them in a slope intercept. So for example, I'll do number or letter A for you, and then you got to do the rest. So I subtract 3x. That leaves me with 4y equals -3x plus 8. Divide now by 4. So my line for A is a -3/4 x plus 2. Now, this line has a different slope from this one. So they're not parallel. So it can't be A. It cannot be A. But I'm showing you exactly what you need to do with B, C, and D to figure out, you're looking at the number in front of the X, the M, who's got the same M as that one. If another line is parallel to the line shown on the graph, now the line on the graph is right here, okay? What must its slope be? If you're a vertical line, what would your slope be? 1, -1, 0, or undefined? Okay, moving on. 38. In the diagram, what must be the measure of x? How many degrees would this be? Here's what you're going to do. First, find how many degrees are in this angle right here. You've got these two guys. Add them together and subtract them from 180, because there's 180 degrees in every triangle. That'll give you this one. Then, notice that this angle and this angle are equal because they're vertical. So whatever you get here, all right, will also be your angle here. Now you've got two angles. This is 90, and whatever you got for this one, add them together and use 180 to figure out what x is. Okay, this is an isosceles triangle. We have two sides are equal, which means these two angles are equal. And they want to know what is JKL. So they want this angle here. So let's figure out what these two guys are. All right, set them equal to each other and plug x back in to figure out how many degrees each J and L are. Then again, how many degrees are in a triangle? You should be thinking that. Subtract whatever you got for J and L, and that'll give you angle K. 42. The two triangles are congruent. We're solving for x. Okay, so we got an expression here for D. So D corresponds with H. All right. We don't know how many degrees H is. So let's do some more logic. E, we got this one, is 52. He corresponds with F. So that means this is 52. Now you know two angles, add them together, subtract them from 180. That'll give you h. And then take 4x minus 12 and set them equal to whatever you got for angle h. And you're solving for x. That's it. Choices are over here. 44. What additional information is required? So what piece of information do we need to use hypotenuse leg? Okay, so here's our 90-degree angle. We got to have an equal hypotenuse and an equal leg. Which of these pieces of information do we need? And on to the last page. Okay, it's a proof, but we're still just going to try to do the evens here. So, which reason justifies statement 3? So xz is equal to xz right here. Xz is equal to xz. Is it symmetry or symmetric, reflexive, transitive, or definition of congruence? 48. What additional piece of information do we need to prove that the two triangles ABD and CBD are equal? We got A and C, okay? And then you also can assume that this guy is equal to himself. So what else do we need? Is it that AB is congruent to BC? And remember, you could label them this. You got an angle and an angle. You got a side and a side. So what other information do we need? Is it that D is the midpoint, which would give you two equal sides? Is it BD bisects ABC? He's a bisector, which would make these two angles equal. Or is it that AD is equal to BD? AD is equal to BD. Would that help? Which piece do you need? And the last question. Based on the markings and on the drawings, which triangles cannot be proved congruent? Not. So who's not equal? Okay. I suggest that you label extra pieces of information. Okay, like there's that. You got vertical angles there, reflexive property there. Okay, A, B, C, D. Who cannot be proved congruent? And that is the end of your exam. Congratulations. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.